You can't seriously be buying anything that creature told us.
To be honest, the conversation went on for so long.
At the very least, everything it said about the Renan Great Spirit adds up. At the end, that being said, had we not previously encountered the will...
The spirit of Rena wants to see Dana, but why?
It doesn't matter. I don't care if we're up against it.
Right.
There is one other thing. How the Great Spirit, the Helganquil, and the Crown contest.
Now that you mention it, and all that talk, Hevrik 35 never even...
Maybe it had a reason for keeping its silence. Or perhaps there's even... Let's find out. Who are they?
What is...
Oh, my apologies. It's just been so long since I've seen any humans from the outside world.
Are you a Renan?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. The Overseer told us to answer any questions you might have. Whatever you want to know, we'll tell you as much as we can.
What a weird guy.
He must have meant Hevrecht 35 when he mentioned that Overseer.
And what was that about subjects? You don't think he meant Dana and Rena, do you?
There isn't anyone else we can talk to. I guess we should ask around here.
Have you guys lived up here in Deg Fazel with Hevrik 35 for a long time?
Yes. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head just how long it's been, though. We regularly go into stasis, so our sense of time has gotten rather out of whack over the years.
Why are you all even here in the first place?
Originally, this station was where we worked to perform maintenance on Lenegis from the outside.
We heard that the facility ended up in its current location.
Oh, it was terrible. Apparently there was some kind of accident, and when help never arrived...
And you've been working for Hevrecht 35?
Well, at first we thought that there was nobody else inside the facility, but then it...
What do you mean?
The Helganquil have the technology to cloak themselves around us Renans. As long as they don't do anything obvious, a Renan won't see one, even if it's right in front of them.
Which would explain why Shion and I failed to notice the Red Women previously.
I haven't been able to scientifically confirm it for myself, but from what I understand, the type of cloaking they use is In addition, they also used hypnosis devices and information control. It's a pretty sophisticated operation, especially since it avoids any unnecessary... I have to imagine that's how Lenegis is still...
But aren't the Helganquil themselves controlled by the Great Spirit? If so, why aren't Renans affected?
The Great Spirit's mind control only works on Helganquil, so they had to...
You act like this didn't affect you personally. If I was you, I'd be mad.
I mean, sure, I was surprised when I first found out about it, but it happened so long ago.
Hevrecht 35 has clearly ceased concealing itself, though.
Who can say? My guess is it just got bored, or maybe even a little lonely.
Don't you want to go back home to Rena or Lenegis? Our ship is going to be...
No way. If we went back after knowing the truth, they'd either just brainwash us or purge us outright.
After all this time, there's nothing to be gained from going back. We've all agreed it'd be best to simply stay here and watch everything unfold and...
Things are going just fine with the Overseer. Not that it'll be around much longer. It can't extend its life any further.
That said, I'm sure it's pleased to see the final stage of the plan before it passes on, though.
Thank you for answering our questions. Can we talk to you for a few minutes?
Sure. It's going to be a while before the two planets undergo their next shift, so I can talk until then.
Please, tell us what you know about the Helganquil.
You mean the Overseer species? I can't say I know much about them.
Well, for starters, where'd they come from?
Where else? From Rena, obviously.
From Rena? Wait, are you telling us those things live right alongside the Renans down there?
Of course not. There's really no such thing as Renans in the first place.
Excuse me?
Oh, I thought the Overseer explained everything.
Apparently not.
Please, tell us more.
Well, in a nutshell, the Renans were originally created from Dahnans by the Helganquil.
But if that's true, then that would mean there aren't any people on Rena.
There aren't. But there are Helganquil. That's what the name literally means in their language. People of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole new race of people?
It was a way to bolster their dwindling workforce. I trust you're aware that the Helganquil are on the verge of extinction, yes? In essence, we were created to carry on their work for the Great Spirit after they all die. They gathered Dahnans who had an affinity for astral arts and proceeded from there. That's why we, as their descendants, can all cast arts, albeit to varying degrees.
Let me get this straight. Are you saying Renans were originally created from Dahnans that the Helganquil kidnapped?
Wait, that explains why almost nobody can use astral arts on Dana now.
Helganquil technology is truly amazing. The way they alter their bodies is far less invasive than your conventional surgeries.
They have these tiny machines that are practically invisible, which they insert into their bodies and...
Enough! You needn't tell us anymore.
How can you speak so calmly about all of this?
I guess I can see how, when viewed in a certain light, their ways may sound grotesque. But if you ask me, I think they ultimately did us a favor. They saved us from crawling the earth in ignorance. If it meant their hands had to get a little dirty in the process, then so be it. Anyway, the Helganquil are the real Renans. Personally, I don't think it's such a big deal. They're also mostly the ones behind what you see going on between the two planets. I think that covers just about everything worth knowing.
I see. Thanks for filling us in.
Does he really expect us to believe that Renans never truly existed?
Dohalim.
Just when I think we're getting to the bottom of it all, some new revelation smacks us in the face.
Then let's hope this is our last revelation for a while. Do you know anything about a spirit channeling plan?
If you mean the first plan from 300 years ago, then yes.
Yes. It was to use Lenegis to siphon off Dana's astral energy.
Exactly. However, there were two problems we had to consider. Second, we had to figure out how to convert Dana's energies.
I take it the solutions to those problems were to use the wedge for the collection.
We have a winner. However, the first plan failed when the Sovereign was overwhelmed and became... The reason for that is because the Maiden lost control. I'm told he slaughtered many Renans in Helganquil. For the next plan, we tried to recreate the Renis Alma, but we didn't have nearly enough of the other non-dark. To amend that, we set our sights on Dana and implemented a...
And the Crown
Correct. Since the Maiden had been the failing point in the previous plan, it was decided to replace a new Sovereign. It was such tremendously difficult work. Its success was dubious.
So that's what the purpose of that room we found in the...
What about the flower that sprouted?
Flower? Oh, that thing. That, as I'm sure you've noticed, it's quite a lot of energy. At this point...
Heverick 35 mentioned that the spirit channeling plan is
It is. I never thought I would live to see the day with... Are we done talking now? If it's all the same to you, I'd really rather not miss anything that's about...
He talks like the potential end of the world is just...
You've got to remember that these guys have been living alone up here for a long...
It feels like our whole world has been turned upside down. Is there anything we...
Seriously, I'm still trying to process the fact that we Renans were created by the Helganquil, let alone...
Let's take a moment to gather ourselves. I know all of this is a lot to believe and take in, but... I think it's fair to say that we've...
Agreed. Though I'll admit that
Everything that's happened.
And to get that energy, the Great Spirit and the Helganquil created the Renans.
Plus, the reason the Great Spirit can't directly control the Renans as well.
Either way, I think it's fair to say we've all had a lot to take in at once. Why don't we all take some time to think things over?
That's a good idea. If the Renan Great Spirit really is behind all this, because it's not just Dana on the line, but Rena too. If we're going to do this, we need to be completely sure of ourselves. So let's go ahead and break off for now. We aren't in any immediate danger, so we should be okay. You sure you don't want to be alone, right?
I could ask you the same question.
I figured I'd get all my thinking in while walking.
I'll go along with you. I'm interested to hear...
Sounds good.
Everyone's just gone their own way, huh?
Yeah, let's hit up each spot. Everything we thought we knew. It was all just a fabrication that the Red Women, no, that the Helganquil made up.
Right. Assuming we can believe anything that Heverick 35 has told us, that is.
Well, if the names are anything to go by, It's possible the Helgang...
But if Heverick 35 was telling the truth, and this was all just one...
No, I don't think so. Or at least I hope not.
Really? Well then, if we've lost it...
Make one, huh?
Oh, it's you two.
He who?
I know that we're all struggling to wrap our minds around it.
What do you think about everything we've learned?
On some level, I'm not even really sure what to think, to be honest. I mean, but if that thing's hellbent on trying to destroy our planet, then the only thing left for us to do is stop it. As for the... I suppose my feelings on that are a bit more mixed.
How so?
Coexistence between Dahnans and Renans in Menancia is, in my case, I think that's partly because deep down, I was still on guard around Renans. So... to be told that they're like us...
You kept a pretty level head.
You mean about the Renans? At the end of the day, but... At the same time, I realize that not every Dahnan is necessary.
I know you're already aware of this, but the list of grievances the Dahnans have against the Renans is long. And if people then find out that they're all actually one and the same... Yeah.
Even just among the Dahnans, I'm sure there'll be... I think if we can find a way to get rid of that imbalance, then we'll be in a...
Well, first we can try to figure out what to do.
Yeah. It'd be nice if one day people...
It's no small task. We can't pretend like the past didn't happen and ask people to forget their very real pain and suffering.
Right. Everybody has their reasons for feeling the way that they do. In a worst-case scenario, it might lead to even...
And we all have to figure out how to meet halfway. Not just that.
That's an interesting way of...
It's true. Everybody has their own scars. It won't be achieved through reasoning, but I think it's a good first step, if nothing else. And now, I think I see a way to move forward. But to do that, first we need to make sure our planet isn't going to get wiped out.
You both seem awfully...
Only because after everything we've seen...
How are you holding up, Rinwell? That whole talk...
Yeah. I get this sinking feeling whenever I remember how Dahnan mages like my family were persecuted and died out. And now, I finally know why that is. But I was thinking, if Renans end up living together with Dahnans again, then mages won't be such an unusual thing to see on Dahna anymore, right? I know it's not as simple as all that, but Dahnans probably won't be so quick to let their guards down, and there might be Renans who still act superior because of their arts.
It wouldn't surprise me. 300 years of bad blood and prejudice isn't going to be an easy thing to overcome.
Yeah, I know firsthand just how much hatred can take hold in your heart once you let it in. But even so, I was still able to change. And if I can change, so can anyone else. So I was thinking maybe, I don't know, I could use my position as both a Dahnan and a mage to help bring both sides together.
Rinwell.
That great spirit worries me too, though. Dahna's will feels so warm and inviting, So why is Rena's will trying to destroy our entire planet?
Now that you mention it, Everett 35 and the other scientists here never really brought that up. Maybe they don't know either.
Maybe. But regardless, at the end of the day, Dan is still our home. There's no way we can let it be destroyed.
We won't. We'll keep...
I still...
You're not the only ones.
Really?
Did you forget what happened back in Thistleum?
It was really...
Yeah, it was. But thanks to Law...
Man, I think you might be a better guy.
Law.
I was too worried about... That was no way to live. But all this talk about other races and the world ending... If I can be honest...
I know this is going to sound strange coming from me, but...
Oh?
I used to worry all the time about my thorns. And when I realized my visions pointed to a threat that was bigger than me, but that's when I finally got it. You guys were all there for me.
In other words, if you let the big picture stuff get you all muddled up inside, you'll begin to...
The thing that's most... All I want to do is protect the people that really matter.
Not everyone is...
Huh?
It's something your dad told me once. Law, you know you're strong enough to fight, and you're strong enough to protect the people you care. Forget all the big stuff going on. Just don't lose sight of...
Yeah. It's like a big weight's been lifted off my... I'll fight to protect the people around me. Just like I always have. I think that's best.
I apologize.
You mean hearing the...
Indeed. It's shocking to have so...
Even I'm still not sure everything we've heard here.
Let's not delude ourselves. If what we've heard is a lie... I can only imagine that you must have been constantly feeling like this. Ever since your memory returned, Alphen.
That's just part of being alive, don't you think?
Well, to say the least. But enough about...
When you say the other Renans, you mean the ones that are...
Correct. Even if we stop the Great Spirit from annihilating, putting aside the untold state that Rena may be in, if we do not truly belong there, we will have to think long and hard about where...
So, I guess your only real choices at this point are to either stay on Lenegis, or come down to Dana, huh?
And at the same time, Danans are hardly likely to embrace Renans with open arms. If there is, after all, and the victims of our rule have absolutely every right to feel animosity towards us
I didn't expect the former Lord of Menancia to be...
Menancia's fate was there had been backlash over how it had been ruled, and I was blessed to have sympathizers among my ranks.
But things can still change if you have the right people to help lead the way.
Indeed. I have fully accepted the burden of that response. On that note, I have some...
Oh?
I wish for you to serve as a mediator, so that the Renans, as the one and only Blazing Sword...
And I take it that you'll be the one to represent...
Yes. However, the fact of the matter is that it will take time for Renans to re-enter... Is it too much?
No, relax. You get so tense and formal.
You're too kind. I can see you were...
That's some high praise, Alphen.
Then I'll ask once again. This...
You don't even need to ask. Of course I will.
Thank you.
Well, it sounds like everyone's learning...
What about you, Shion?
To be honest, I'm not really all that shocked, actually. I mean, I might be a Renan in the literal sense, but I've never really felt like one of them. Right now, it's...
How do you mean?
Because for a really, really long time, I thought I'd die alone. I would have never imagined that I'd be traveling with someone like you. It's been going on for 300 years. All this it was Naori's hope that somehow how it fell on us of all.
I don't think Naori was hoping that we would just stop the... She considered me a Danan. I don't think she wanted the world to be saved, just so they...
Huh?
When we were talking to Kisara earlier, about all that stuff, like, she said that the first step down that path, that means forgiving other people.
Forgiving? So...
Yeah. I don't just mean forgiving things that happened in the past. If we have any hope of moving on and building a better...
You know, you're right. People...
It's not going to be easy getting past this, but if we can do it, I'm sure there'll come a time when we can all truly understand. I'm there with you, Shion. I think that's the very least I can do to repay Naori.
Yeah. I want a future that she would feel proud to live in. And I'm...
Whoa there, Savior Girl.
Yes, I know.
Well, is everybody ready to do what
I am. There's a lot to think. I don't care who we're up against.
What are your thoughts, Alphen?
Like Law said, if we have to... It's trying to rob us of our entire world. That alone is enough to make it our enemy. But it's not only that. One way or another, I think beating...
You're saying there's a chance...
You're referring to the vision of destruction we all saw in...
Yeah. 3 centuries ago, the astral energy that appeared at the spirit channeling ceremony and to hear Shion tell it?
Indeed. Shion's thorns are comprised, and if Rena's great spirit is what's behind Dana's pending destruction...
Shion's thorns are the Great Spirit? It's not actually on Rena like we thought?
We don't know anything for certain. At the very least...
While the main body...
Shion.
If these thorns really are a part of Rena's great spirit, I'm going to go over there and give it a piece of my mind and...
The question is, how do we confront... Suffice it to say, that flower... The Wedge and Lennigus...
And we only know about the thorns connect...
Hevric 35 has been observing, but it wouldn't ask us to fight it unless it has a plan of some... Our minds are made up. Let's go give Hevric 35 our answer.
So if the Sovereign and Maiden were originally...
Even with the Forbidden Zone in ruins, and the Renis Alma stolen, Lennigus is functioning fine.
First they lumber you with a position you never asked for, then you're...
More importantly, who do they think we are?
I just hope everyone on Lennigus...
Worst comes to worst, Lennigus is equipped with a large number of starships that people can escape in. As long as the whole...
Wait.
In any case...
Right.
Do you have your answer?
We want to ask something. You're asking us to fight an entire... You must have something up your sleeve, or else you wouldn't put us up...
The great astral spirit is an immense being, but its actual will does not run throughout its entire body. Rather, its will is derived from the core, which supports the rest of the body, and is where its strength is most densely concentrated. Therefore, if you destroy the core, the great spirit shall become unable to maintain sentience, and return to being ordinary astral energy.
And how are we supposed to destroy that core?
By using the Renis Alma. You will also need the assistance of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. They are our best tools for suppressing and controlling astral energy. Using their powers, the Maiden shall seal the great astral spirit within her body, and the Sovereign shall wield the power of the Renis Alma to destroy it.
Hold on. That sounds a lot like what Shion described before.
Yeah, killing herself to take out the thorns with her.
She was actually right all along.
By my calculations, your powers combined should be sufficient to destroy the great astral spirit, and disperse its energy widely enough to make it difficult to reform.
What will happen to the Maiden once we manage to beat the great astral spirit?
Any matter contained within the field of destruction shall be erased.
So it really will kill me.
This method is the most simple one available to destroy the Great Spirit, and is therefore our most reliable option.
What are our other options?
There is little reason to consider alternative courses of action when the most optimal among them is so clear.
You don't get it. I promised Shion that she wouldn't die. That we'd save the world without needing to sacrifice. We didn't fight this whole time just to give up on her at the very end. If there's any other way to take out the Great Spirit, I want to hear it.
It is vital that you proceed with this plan. A part of Rena's great astral spirit. 300 years ago, the Great Spirit descended upon Lenegis in an attempt to assume direct control of the spirit channeling ceremony. We have reason to believe the Great Spirit left part of itself behind, and that it—
Which would make Alphen's earlier hypothesis.
That part inside the Maiden belongs to the core, and can be used by the Great Astral Spirit to revive. So long as it remains, it will be all but impossible. That is why it is necessary for it to be vanquished only once it is whole. Without the Maiden's direct control over the Great Spirit, attacking it is futile, and—
No.
Wait. Naori said that the Renis Alma can suppress the self-realization of astral energy, and that the thorns could be neutralized by placing them in it. If so, can't the same also be done to the Great Spirit, seeing as the thorns are simply part of it?
Well, can it?
It is true that the Renis Alma is capable of what you suggest.
Yes!
However, doing so requires fine control on the level of the spirit channeling ceremony, considering that the Renis Alma was previously lost when that ceremony failed.
What does that mean for us if you—
Your starship will not be restored.
Why you—
Fine then. I'd rather stay here and rot than do it your way.
Alphen?
Whatever we do, if we mess up, Dana's screwed. The Great Spirit will destroy. If you're fine letting that happen, and we have nothing to gain either way, then I'd rather do nothing. We want to stop Dana from getting destroyed. We want to save it. But not if it means having to sacrifice. If all you're gonna do is sit back and watch us where it's safe, then quit ordering us around and shut up!
Alphen.
What you say is irrational. Be that as it may, I shall accede to your demand.
You'll agree?
I am an observer. The Sovereign, Maiden, I wish to see how well they work against the Great Spirit in light of our demise by it.
But what are we supposed to do about the Renis Alma? One of your
It is likely that the Renis Alma is with the Great Spirit.
So our only option to retrieve it is to head straight for the Great—
According to my observations, the astral energy is most densely
So right in the middle of that giant flower that—
I have one more question. You've said that Rena's great— What will happen to Rena once it—
Without the will of the Great Spirit, Rena is predicted to collapse. Even in such a scenario,
So you're saying that even if we manage to beat the Great Spirit without destroying it, we'll still be in danger?
Likely, the collapse will occur in stages. It is
Man, I wish that thing would tell it to us straight for one.
Havrek 35 and the others have gotten used to hypothesizing. Fix our starship.
Excellent.
But I want to make one thing clear. We're doing this for ourselves. Remember that.
It matters little to me. Repair work on your starship has commenced. Finished.
Man, is it too much to ask for Havrek 35?
Is the Renis Alma really our only hope against the Great Spirit?
Shion's Firemaster Core was able to suppress— Couldn't we make use—
I'm not sure. In small doses, maybe.
Back in Calaglia, the Blazing Sword was able to take in a whole spirit vessel's worth of energy. If it has the capacity—
Except after it absorbed the energy, it ended up releasing it all moments later, remember? Besides, this is the Great Spirit we're talking about, not a paltry vessel. Even if—
Havrek 35 didn't mention it, and it did not seem the type to skimp on
You're
You still thinking about what the scientists told us? About where Renans really come from?
I am, but not for myself.
You're worried about the future of the Renan people.
The fact that our people have been the same this whole time will only give the Danans further reason to resent us.
But you still intend to confront this truth head-on, don't you?
Well, I did declare that I would live my life for the living, and not the dead. Even as I dream of retirement, I shall remain dedicated to the cause.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Now that I think about it, I don't believe I've ever heard you criticize or reproach us Renans even once.
I'm no saint. I have skeletons in my closet too. There was definitely a time when I hated Renans for who they were. I hated them just for being Renan. But you changed that, Dohalim. You gave me an opportunity to see them in a different light. Thanks to your reforms, we were able to stand next to Renans not as slaves, but as equals for the first time in our lives. Of course, I'm sure there were some Renans who still hated us on the inside. But we knew that not all of you were like that. There were those of you who were good, and that was a start. When it comes down to it, Renans are just people. They can be good or bad, just like Dahnans.
That is, in essence, the heart of your approach, isn't it? That we're all people.
Yeah, it is. When you can pull someone aside and talk to them one-on-one, then you have the chance to come to an understanding. But as soon as you stereotype, that chance goes away, and you stop thinking of them as people that you can relate to.
I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about massive numbers of Renans and Dahnans alike. Realistically speaking, surely they won't all be able to get along.
Even if we end up butting heads with one person, maybe we'll find better luck among their friends. If we can build a society that works like that, that'll be something worth nurturing and protecting.
So you wish for people to form real bonds and do away with the hierarchy outright? To deal with one another as humans, and nothing more? That's the ideal future you hope to see when this is all over?
Yes, I do. I think it would make for a fine tribute to my brother's legacy. Though, that said, I would be doing it for the people of the future first and foremost. Do you still plan to return to Lenegis when this is over?
Indeed I do. I don't know whether I'll be able to reside in Lenegis proper, however. My first order of business may be to find somewhere to live.
You'll always have a home in Menancia, you know.
As I shall ever keep in mind.
Well, if you ever need a helping hand, don't hesitate to come get me. I'll always be there for you, Doe.
Did you just... Never mind. Thank you, Kisara. I appreciate your patience as I work all this out.
Don't even mention it. And really, when you think about it, now that we know the two of us aren't so different after all, don't you think that brings down a barrier that used to be between us?
You know, I hadn't actually thought of it that way before. But I do like the sound of it.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Hey, why'd you call me here? Was there something you wanted to talk about?
Well, if everything we've heard about the Great Spirit is true, then we're getting close to our final battle. So I wanted to apologize while I can.
Apologize? For what?
I was being real stupid before, about whether Dana's will had been controlling us and all that. I get why you're angry now. Anybody would be if something they trusted was being questioned. So, I'm sorry, Rinwell. Really. I should have kept my mouth shut.
No, Law. Honestly, I think you might have been onto something. Of course you were worried. Who wouldn't be if they found out there might be some invisible force pulling our strings this whole time?
But you really trust Dana's will, don't you? Is it because you can sense it a lot more than the rest of us? Because you can understand it?
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. But I think I also want to believe it's good.
Believe?
Remember how I used to really resent coming from a family of mages?
Yeah, of course. Because you were always on the run and had to live in hiding.
When we rescued Zephyr and I finally decided to come along with you all, something changed inside me. It was the first time I felt like my powers had any meaning, even if that meaning was only helping you guys fight. Then, when I felt Dana's will, I was overwhelmed by how vast and warm it was. It made me want to believe my powers were made to connect with it. It made me believe I had a bigger purpose.
So that's why you hope it doesn't turn out to be bad. You almost need it to be kind.
Yeah.
Well, alright. Then I promise I'll lay off bad-mouthing it.
You will?
There's no way
remember what I said about neither? That's not quite true. I can feel just a little bit of Rena's inside you. I sensed it when we first got here. It's a really small, but I think that's how Dana's energy probably...
So in a way, doesn't that mean we're all Dana's?
What?
Well, like you said, unless Dana's energy comes together, it has no will. So if we all have a little bit of Dana's...
Yeah.
Heverick 35 might know the answer, but... You know what? I don't need to ask it. My will is my... So thanks, Rinwell. To be honest, the only reason I was suspicious of Dana's will, I feel like you and I had grown apart lately.
Huh?
Never mind. Nothing. Just forget about it.
Huh? No. What were you saying?
Saying? I don't remember
Come
saying
on.
anything.
Now you won't tell me what you were thinking? Then spit it out already.
Are you sure you don't want to get some rest?
I can't.
Same as you, still trying to absorb.
Remember when it was so simple? We were only fighting all the lords on Dana? All of that feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
Ages and ages ago. Everything that's happened.
If I hadn't run into you that day, well, I wouldn't have met all of you. I never would have held the blazing sword or looked for something more. I wouldn't have my memories back. I'd still be a faceless slave, like as not long dead.
Hey, Alphen?
Yeah?
If we can't find the Renis Alma, like Heverick 35 said, the only way we can end the Great Spirit... I need you to promise me, Alphen, that if you'll use the blazing sword to destroy the Great Spirit, and me along with it. It's true the blazing sword may not have the strength of the Renis Alma, but it's taken us this far. It's slain lords.
You can't be serious.
Listen, the Great Spirit isn't just our problem. We don't know what's going to happen when we face it, but we need... I promise you, I'm not planning on going anywhere. But if it comes down to it...
Okay, but you should know that I'm not going to give up on you, Shionne. I'm going to... I hope you can forgive me for that.
Alphen, okay, I understand.
Thank you, Shionne.
So it's a promise then?
Yeah, it's a promise.
I remember how I felt the first time you touched me. But when you reached out to me and gently took my... I don't have words for the shock.
That's because I couldn't feel pain back then.
Even once you could, though, you still chose to keep reaching out to me. But still, I hate it.
You won't have to worry about that for much longer.
You think so?
I do, because I...
No. You can tell me once my thorns are gone. Okay?
Everybody get enough rest?
Yeah, we should
Agreed.
Our task is relatively straightforward. We need only to send...
We're fighting for a new future for both...
Right. We've come this far.
Then let's go, everybody.
Repairs on your starship are complete.
Is that you, Heverick 35?
I can see anywhere within the bounds.
Sounds like someone's a peep.
Maybe we should give Heverick 35 a break.
I have unlocked all functions on your starship.
Warp drive? Wait, you mean like with the Red Women?
It's possible that the Red Women may have found a way to activate it on the star.
Using the warp drive, you should be able to breach Rena's atmosphere with...
Wait.
You'll need to be careful, due to the force field surrounding Rena.
So, once we reach the shell, it appears we'll have to...
We gotta go all the way down,
Will all the Helganquil go back to normal once we defeat the Great Spirit?
The extinction of my people is, as such, it would be illogical.
Can't that thing lighten up a bit?
Well?
Hold up.
You heard the lady.
I have one last question.
What?
As Sovereign, your identification number indicates that you are well past your predicted life expectancy. Similarly, the Maiden lacks any identification number, as her function should have been rendered unnecessary. Despite this, the two of you continue to exist.
We exist because others have entrusted this to us. Over the years, many...
You mean it is because of multiple chance interactions? Why have you two continued to persist?
It's hard to explain. All right, time to get back on the phone lights.
It would appear that our Helganquil host really has fulfilled its end of the...
You know what that means.
I guess this means we should give that warp drive...
There's nothing here. This weird ocean we're surrounded by just stretches out.
I don't sense even a trace. This world is...
Then this must be the Hollow.
You mean to tell me this whole world?
And it's covering everything.
This is what the Great Spirit does. After it depleted this planet of every last speck of astral energy, it was...
So arresting. This...
Back in its day, Rena was put after being robbed of its astral energy for so long.
So the Great Spirit took everything. It stole...
And it bound the Helganquil in servitude, until their whole world was nothing but this.
With nothing left here to consume,
You're saying if we don't stop it, this...
We can be sure that even these few remaining remnants of Renan life will not be spared in the end.
If the Oblivion and Darkness both Shion... It looks like we can climb down from there. Let's take a look.
So this is Rena. This is where everything began. Yet it's a dead world?
I won't let Dana suffer the same fate. Ever. Looks like we've warped into that pit of astral energy.
Helganquil!
Guess they don't need their Red Woman disguises anymore.
Wait, can you understand us?
It's no use.
So they really are being controlled.
I knew there was something off here!
They're not pulling punches. We have no choice but to beat them at their own game.
Try harder!
Don't mind if I do. Freeze Lancer!
Dragon form! Not today!
Thunder Blast! Armor to handle?
Here I come! No further!
Leave the enemy's arms with me.
Win!
No complaints here!
That's mine! Win! Searing Gale! Air pressure! We did it! We've turned the tables on it.
There are still more left.
Right. No time to hold back. I don't know what I'll do without you.
Perhaps now isn't the time?
I really don't.
Lightning Dirt! You're really strong, Alphen.
I'm just trying to do the best I can.
Still, it's reassuring to have you around.
As impressive as always.
Here I hope that wasn't true.
No, I mean you're even better than ever.
I've never seen Xion actually look well. Frozen!
Hammer!
Resonate with the earth! Double Demon Fang! Burn in hell! No further!
Burn it! Do it!
Totally! In an instant! Impact Claw! We work well together.
Like a finely timed blow.
Double Demon Fang!
Holy Lance!
Double Demon Fang!
Resurrection!
Double Demon Fang!
Severing
Blade!
Now!
Searing Gale! Now!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Alphen.
I can't forget, but I hate killing them.
Perhaps. However...
Yeah, I know.
I wonder if we're going to get attacked again.
If we lose heart now, this whole mission is over. We have to stay the course.
Hey!
Is this about
What?
Rinwell.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, they're designed to make whoever's wearing...
Right. So it
I don't know, makes them more
You don't think it's weird?
Can't say I'd ever...
Connect the...
Okay, let me get this straight. You think the arm...
Huh.
It would mean...
Not... hugely? Hey!
Get him, who...
Oh!
Oh!
Ow! Yes.
Excuse me!
Hey!
Really now?
What?
I see. Agreed.
Very nice.
No, Halim? The line of researchers is getting longer.
Perhaps I should have put more thought into this before accepting.
You know, guys, when you think about it, we've taken out a lot of Zeugles. Like, a whole lot.
You can say that again. If one thing's for certain in this world, it's that wherever we go, we'll always end up bumping into them.
Isn't it weird that they're still so plentiful? You don't think the Renans have, like, a ranch where they breed them, do you?
Certainly in all of my years, I've never heard of them constructing such a massive facility on Dana, let alone up in Lenegis.
The only thing I can think of, then, is that the feral ones must be reproducing on their own.
There's also no organized effort on our part to hunt them down, so it's difficult to fully exterminate them.
Exterminate them? Whoa, don't you think that's maybe a little harsh?
What do you mean?
Zeugles originally used to be living creatures native to Dana and Ren.
You're right. Zeugles were only created...
First, people made Zeugles, and then we let them go. And now we're trying to kill them because they're a threat.
I hope we find a way to be able...
It's a nice thought, but they attack towns and cities.
Aside from the strays that have gone wild, it's worth remembering that Renans are able to keep...
If we had distinct territories that didn't overlap...
Well, I guess when you look at it that...
I see someone who looks troubled about something.
A little compassion can make all the difference.
I never realized...
You're only just noticing?
That's the one. It's hard to believe
And all with the mask concealing your face. It must have...
Back then, we had our place. It never occurred to me the air itself was oppressive in its own way.
I think that's called heat stroke.
You mean that water that's been festering under...
Oh, I know! I'll go to the...
Water alone won't...
In that case, let's see if we can rustle up some rock salt. Alphen, you go cool off in the shade for a while. Xion, stay and keep an eye on him.
And then there were two.
Bit of an overreaction.
Maybe it's not the time, but...
I know what you mean. We're back where it all started.
You don't ever... regret me.
Are you kidding? You started all of it.
Oh!
Hey.
Yes.
Just great.
How's...
Got it.
Hey! Yay!
All right.
Looks like we made it here in one piece.
Let's dispose of the trash.
Lionheart!
This could be useful.
That thing looks pretty menacing.
Retreat if you... know what's good for you. Aren't you being interrupted?
Time to cross blade! I owe you one. Aim for the weak spot. Incineration wave!
Illuminate the dark! Come forth! Only live!
Take this!
I'm going to need to use all the power of my healing arts to
You
accomplish
picked the wrong fight!
Got it!
Dragon Form!
Now go down! Thunderblade! Here goes!
Not done yet!
Illuminate the dark! Now!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
I'm going to need to use all the power of my healing arts to
Dragon Form!
Lightning Revenge!
Denied!
Double Demon Fang!
The enemy is going all out!
Incinerate! No! Can't end here!
I'll bring you back from death.
Now we're never...
I can't feel you forever!
Can't get out of this! I owe you one.
Illuminate the dark!
This one keeps charging us!
That's what my shield's for. Get behind me!
Done! I'll leave it to you! Double Demon Fang! Resonate with the earth! I'm not... This should do it! Wind! Severing Wind! Searing Gale! Double Demon Fang!
Searing Flame! Get the Dragon
Nothing gets by me!
It's about to strike!
Look sharp, everyone!
Bring you down!
Who wants to
It's
die?
in your hands now.
Can't end here!
Don't leave me! Lightning to death! Thunderblade! Magic is not in your dreams! I'll bring you back from death to death! Denied! Here goes! Let the mark illuminate the dark! Come forth! Holy! Amazing! Not long to go now.
We couldn't have done it without you, Lynette.
Thanks! Come on! Let's you and me get in there and finish this fight! Holy resuscitation! Lunar blast! This one's mine!
This one's all mine!
Radiant, look here!
Double Demon Fang!
Damn it! Back into the fray!
Double Demon Fang! Incineration Wave! Try harder! Burn in hell!
Lightning to death!
Ready and ready. Take it.
Double Demon Fang!
Magic is death!
Incineration Wave!
Holy land!
In a vine.
Lunar ready to go!
Begin.
Double Demon Fang! I'm ready! In an instant! Impact Block! We're a pretty lethal combination, aren't we?
What can I say? I had a good partner.
Always good to be back in familiar territory. I wonder if something happened.
Hey, she's pretty cute.
Who are you looking at? Quit gawking and let's go.
Ow! Yeah. What?
Right. Afraid not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah! Hey.
Uh-huh.
Yeah! Just great.
I guess... Thanks.
Huh? Well... All right. All right, I guess. Got it.
We've reached our destination. Why are you staring at me?
I could ask the same thing. Shion, could we talk a moment?
I thought you had something to talk...
Not really. Why?
No,
We used to really have to force these conversations.
to say the... Hey,
What is it?
do you think...
Make what?
Just, if you wanna... Just, if you...
Huh?
What did you think I...
No, it's nothing. Don't worry about it.
Well, Do you
This is...
So you remember? That's right. We're going to although I remember it not be-
You still remember that?
I'm just teasing. I picked this recipe because it's easy to make, and I thought it would be a good choice for dinner, too. Anyway, let's get to work.
I never thought we'd...
Yeah.
No, I'd say even that's changed, too.
True. We both
That's not exactly what I mean. How do I...
Yeah.
Even after our battles are done.
Yep. I doubt that much.
I hope our dinners will always...
Maybe not exactly like this. Hopefully we won't still be camping.
Oh, no, not at all. I meant in a nice, warm house. One with...
And real chairs instead of these logs.
And when it's time to fix dinner...
Standing side...
Whoops. Looks like we made too much.
Yeah, you're right. I'll see if anybody...
Side by side.
I'm looking forward to breakfast. Morning. Ready to head out?
Is this the barrier that's keeping the Zoogle in that Nath mentioned?
Looks like it. Our Zoogle pal should be on the other side.
This barrier is weird. It looks old and half-finished. Plus, he said it was okay to break.
I mean, we won't need it anymore once the Zoogle's gone, right? So what does it matter? Did they really think that barrier was enough for a Zoogle like that?
It was. That thing was sturdier than you give it credit for.
Really? So that's the Zoogle, huh? This should be a piece of cake.
Don't get careless, Law.
Think we could take that one?
Well, if you're up for being the
Brace yourself! This one's tough!
Bet that shell's hiding something tasty.
I'm all stuffed up! Incineration wave! Double demon fang! Incineration wave!
It's almost too strong.
Split it open!
Be my guest!
Not on my watch!
Healing double demon fang!
Illuminate the sun! Come by the power of light! Mine!
Double demon fang! Incineration wave!
No! Can't let here!
Don't give up! That'll bring you down!
Imbued vanquish sword with light!
Holy land by the power of flame! Vanish without a
fluidity of your movements are simply incredible.
Double demon fang!
Holy glimmer!
Incineration wave!
Holy land!
Double demon fang! Incineration wave!
Illuminate the sword! Come forth! Holy glimmer! Leave the enemy's arts to me!
No complaints here!
Illuminate the sword!
Double demon fang! Incineration wave! This time! Ignite! Double demon fang! Incineration wave!
Take this!
It's weakened!
This ends now! Incineration wave!
That'll bring you down! Don't mind if I do! I'm going to need to use all the power of my healing arts to illuminate magic and bam!
Take this! Double demon fang! Incineration wave!
Lightning condemned!
You picked the wrong fight!
Holy land!
Double demon fang! Incineration wave!
I'll grind you into stone! I can carve through armor!
Amazing.
In a bind?
Holy Land! Healing circle!
Why'd you heal me?
To stop you dying?
Carried away! Power of water!
Inspiration wave!
Annihilation! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Here's a healing art! Holy Glimmer!
Incineration wave!
Holy Land! Illuminate the dark! Come forth! Holy Glimmer! Holy Land! Lightning! I'm ready!
Shine! Radiant light!
Lightning descent!
Of regeneration!
Illuminate
Now or never!
that move! Holy Land!
Here comes the big one!
Hold on to your arm!
Ignite! This isn't looking good! Dragon Swarm!
Healing circle!
Now I can let loose.
Sorry.
Dragon Swarm!
Magic your dance! Holy, don't mind if I do!
Severing Wind! Searing Gale!
Lightning
I've used too much.
And that's my will!
Incineration Wave!
Holy Land! Tornado!
My natural defenses are fading. I'm a sitting duck.
Retreat from this battle.
Retreat?
I would never.
Dragon Swarm!
Holy Land! Lightning! Thunderblade! Illuminate the dark! Come forth, Holy Land! Where are you going? Illuminate the dark!
On the ground!
Holy Glimmer!
Okay,
Holy Land!
this one's all mine! It's gonna attack!
Right, watch out! Holy Land! Glacial Spear!
Dragon Swarm!
Lightning descent!
Explosive Ring!
Here's a healing art! Art expert coming through!
In a bind?
Lunar Blast! Lightning descent!
Dragon Swarm!
Illuminate the dark! Magic is in!
I couldn't make it in time.
Thanks! Just what I needed.
From beyond, imbue this vanquished soul with life.
Severing Wind!
Lightning descent!
Searing Gale!
Thunderblade! Illuminate the blah 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 magic! Holy Land!
Demon
Lunar
Fang!
Blast!
Incineration Wave!
Heal my weary
I
companion.
won't give up.
Thunderblade! Illuminate the dark!
Resonate with the earth.
Holy Land!
On your knees. Air pressure.
Illuminate the dark! Come forth! Holy Glimmer! Holy Land!
Can't get out of this.
Severing Wind!
Breath of life. Heal my
Illuminate the
weary
dark!
companion.
Come forth! Holy Glimmer!
I'm gonna need more than that. Imbue this vanquished
You
soul
pay
with
for
life.
that!
From beyond, imbue this vanquished soul with love. Resuscitation.
Ignite!
Glacial
Such
Spear!
unadulterated fury.
Freeze Laser!
I'll smash you!
Resuscitation!
Incineration Wave!
No!
Can't end here!
That's gonna smart. Searing Flare! Lightning descent! Thunderblade! Illuminate the dark! Magic is in! Holy Land!
Imbue this vanquished soul.
Far enough! By the
From
power
beyond,
of the Land!
imbue this vanquished soul with love. Resuscitate. No art of being interrupted.
Illuminate the dragon!
Take this!
Not done yet!
Burning strike! Glacial Spear! Mine!
Let me free you of
Laser.
your power. Dispel!
Show you what my
Double
art can
Demon
do!
Fang!
Rise and shine!
No further.
Stay away from my friends! Double Demon Fang!
Illuminate the dark!
Dragon Swarm!
Holy Land! Hold on to your arm!
Double Demon
Here I
Fang!
come! Lunar Corruption! Here goes! Here I go!
Resonate with the earth.
Severing Wind!
Holy Land!
Double Demon Fang! Double Demon Fang!
Outstanding form!
Double Demon Fang!
Where are you going? No! Holy Land! Here I
Double
go!
Demon Fang!
again! There you go! Don't let up! Don't leave me! Come forth! Holy land! I'll bring you back from death to this! Illuminate the dark! Come forth! Holy glimmer! Holy land!
It's in your hands now.
Illuminate the dark!
Not done yet.
Come forth! Holy glimmer! Holy...
Double Demon Fang!
Come forth! Holy glimmer! Holy land! I'll take it from here. Let's see how you handle this! Deus Roar!
Double Demon Fang!
My head's spinning just watching you!
Double Demon Fang!
You have to hold on!
I'm on it! Double Demon Fang!
Flaming meteor! Inferno punch!
Here we go!
Denied!
Inside is yours to be let free!
Too shy to come over? Here!
Not a chance!
I hope this thing is medically approved.
Going in!
Eat dirt!
Inferno crossing!
First blood!
Inferno
Double Demon Fang!
This one's mine! Inferno crossing!
Not my finest.
Double Demon Fang!
Guess I had to use it sometime. Inferno crossing! Swampy!
Double Demon Fang! Double Demon Fang! Double Demon Fang! That did it! Double Demon Fang! Try harder! My turn! Double Demon Fang! Double Demon Fang! There! Double Demon Fang! Double Demon Fang! Double Demon Fang! Double Demon Fang! There! Try harder! Not a chance! Double Demon Fang! This one's all mine! Double Demon Fang! That did it! You picked the wrong fight! Double Demon Fang! Incineration Wave! I can't move!
It's